In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on February 4th, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Oklahoma City Thunder versus San Antonio Spurs. The Oklahoma City Thunder head to Frost Bank Center on Wednesday to take on the San Antonio Spurs in another interesting NBA matchup. The Thunder roll in feeling pretty good about themselves after beating the Nuggets and the Magic, with the Rockets waiting for them next on the schedule. They have won 44 of their last 55 regular season games, which is a wild run when you remember how young this core still is. The Spurs just picked up a win over the Magic, then stumbled against the Hornets, and they get the Mavs next. They have quietly taken 6 of their last 9 games, which is a nice little reminder that they have been playing better basketball lately than their overall record suggests. Oklahoma City is still without Jalen Williams and Jay Mitchell, which does chip away at their depth and flexibility, while San Antonio has already ruled out Jeremy Sochan and is monitoring Stephen Castle as questionable with that thigh issue. These teams have already faced each other 4 times this season, with the Spurs grabbing the first 3 meetings before the Thunder answered back with a blowout win on January 13th. So there is already a bit of familiarity and a little bit of pride baked into this one. The Thunder are on the second night of a back-to-back, which is never ideal, especially on the road, but this spot feels more like an opportunity than a burden for them. They have real momentum behind them, and a group that has stacked this many wins in the regular season usually enjoys the chance to test itself against opponents that have already given them problems. That previous stretch where San Antonio had their number should have this young Thunder team dialed in instead of dreading the matchup. Splitting these two right now is not easy because the Spurs have lifted their level and the Thunder are dealing with some absences and a tough schedule spot. Here is where the line comes into play. With the spread sitting on the shorter side, it does not take a huge margin for Oklahoma City to reward you if they simply play to the level they have shown over this longer run of games. Their track record suggests they are more than capable of grinding out a narrow road win, even with some tired legs, especially if their defense holds up late. In a game that shapes up as competitive, siding with a team that has consistently shown a higher ceiling and a better habit of closing out tight ones makes sense, even away from home. That leans this toward the Thunder finding just enough separation to sneak out with a small win that still covers. As our first pick for this matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Oklahoma City Thunder are averaging 120.9 points on 49.2% shooting from the field and allowing 107.9 points on 43.2% shooting on the defensive end. They are knocking down 35.9% of their threes and hitting 82.4% at the free throw line. They are allowing opponents to shoot 37.3% from deep, and they are pulling in 43.6 rebounds per game. The San Antonio Spurs are averaging 117.2 points on 47.2% shooting and giving up 112.1 points on 45.7% shooting. They are connecting on 34.7% from beyond the arc and 78.6% from the stripe. They are holding opponents to 35.8% shooting from 3 while grabbing 46.3 rebounds per contest. On paper, those numbers point to 2 offenses that can score and 2 defenses that are not complete pushovers, especially when you look at field goal percentages and how each team defends the arc. Oklahoma City's combination of high efficiency from the field and strong free throw shooting usually lifts their totals, but their defense keeping opponents under 108 on average is a big anchor on the other side. San Antonio scores plenty, yet they are not an ultra-efficient three-point team, which can matter in games where possessions tighten and trips to the line do not spiral out of control. Here is the part that nudges this toward a lower final tally. Both teams rebound well, particularly the Spurs, which often means a lot of one-and-done possessions rather than long scramble sequences that inflate scoring. If the Thunder defense holds close to its usual standard and forces San Antonio into tougher looks, especially from deep, then the Spurs will have a harder time pushing this into track meet territory. Even with solid offensive averages, the combination of respectable defense, strong rebounding, and some likelihood of half-court sets dominating key stretches makes a full-on shootout less likely than the raw points per game might suggest. You can easily get a game where the rhythm feels lively, but the scoreboard still finishes below the projected mark because stops and contested shots show up often enough. All of that leans toward expecting a total that lands under the number, with both teams scoring, but not quite blowing the lid off. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Memphis Grizzlies versus Sacramento Kings. The Memphis Grizzlies head to Golden One Center on Wednesday to take on the Sacramento Kings in a matchup between two teams trying to stop the bleeding more than anything else. The Grizzlies just lost to the Pelicans, split a pair with the Timberwolves, and have the Trail Blazers coming up next. They have dropped 12 of their last 17 games, which tells you how hard it has been for them to string anything together lately. The Kings are somehow in even worse shape results-wise right now. They are coming off losses to the Wizards and Celtics. They see the Clippers next, and they are riding a 9-game losing streak that has completely wrecked their confidence. Memphis is still without Ja Morant, Zach Edey, Scottie Pippen Jr., and Brandon Clark, and Santi Aldama is sitting on the injury report as questionable. Sacramento has already ruled out Keegan Murray and is monitoring Domantas Sabonis as questionable with a back issue, so both teams are dealing with key absences in different places. These two have very different problems, but neither feels remotely settled. The Grizzlies are so short-handed that beating the Timberwolves on Monday was almost shocking, and that kind of performance has been more of a rare spike than a steady trend this season. The Kings, meanwhile, come in as one of the coldest teams in the league, and that loss to a short-handed Wizards team on Sunday felt like a new low point in terms of belief and energy. From a spread angle, it is not exactly fun to lay points with a group that has not won a game since January 16th and sits at 18 to 31 to 2 against the spread for the season. That profile usually screams stay away. At the same time, Memphis still has what feels like a CVS-length injury report, and now they are also without the recently traded Jaren Jackson, which stretches their depth and talent even thinner. It almost feels like Ja Morant getting moved is only a matter of time as the Grizzlies lean into this new era built around all their young pieces. Sacramento looks flat and uninspired for long stretches, but there are still veterans on that roster who know how to manage ugly games and at least stay functional. You really could not back either side here with much confidence that your money is coming back to you, and that is the honest part of this matchup. Still, on paper, the talent gap leans toward the Kings, especially when you consider how depleted Memphis is right now. It is not exactly a ringing endorsement, but the idea of banking on big performances from Levine and DeRozan being enough in this particular spot does not feel completely far-fetched. At home, with the crowd behind them, this is the kind of game the Kings should be able to win if they have any pulse left at all. If they cannot handle a decimated Grizzlies squad in this building, you might as well light the whole franchise metaphorically on fire and start over. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Memphis Grizzlies are averaging 114.6 points on 45.4% shooting from the field and allowing 116.6 points on 46.4% shooting. They are hitting 34.4% of their attempts from beyond the arc and 79.9% from the free throw line. They are allowing opponents to shoot 35.9% from three-point range, and they are grabbing 45.9 rebounds per game. The Sacramento Kings are averaging 110.5 points on 46.7% shooting and giving up 120.6 points on 49.2% shooting. They are knocking down 35% of their threes and 76.5% of their free throws. They are allowing 35.4% shooting from deep and collecting 41 rebounds per contest. The numbers paint a picture of two defenses that leak plenty and two offenses that can still put up respectable totals, even with all the chaos and inconsistency baked in. Memphis gives up more than it scores on average, and Sacramento gives up even more than that, with opponents shooting efficiently from the field against them. That combination usually sets the stage for games where stops come in bursts instead of consistently, and where scoring runs can stack up on both sides. Both teams are allowing solid percentages from deep, which invites stretches where a few made threes in a row from either side suddenly inflate the total. The rebounding edge for the Grizzlies also hints at some extra possessions, either through defensive boards leading to quick pushes or through second-chance opportunities that keep trips alive. Neither side has a lockdown defensive identity right now, with both groups giving up triple-digit scoring on a nightly basis and shooting percentages sitting in comfortable ranges. The most natural expectation is that this turns into a game where the scoreboard stays busy throughout. Even if there are some cold stretches mixed in, the overall profile suggests enough efficiency and enough possessions for the combined points to push past the number rather than stall out. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Los Angeles Clippers. The Cleveland Cavaliers roll into Intuit Dome on Wednesday night to take on the Los Angeles Clippers in a matchup that feels a lot more emotional than a regular midweek game. The Cavs just beat the Trail Blazers, then took a loss against the Suns, and they have the Kings on deck next. They have still won 13 of their last 18 games, so they are clearly in a strong rhythm overall. The Clippers are in a similar groove lately. They beat the Suns, lost to the 76ers, and also see the Kings next, so both teams are circling some of the same opponents right now. They have taken 17 of their last 22, which puts them right there among the more consistent teams over the last month or so. Cleveland is still missing Evan Mobley and Max Strus, and they have already moved on from James Harden as part of their shuffle. The Clippers are still without Bradley Beal and have traded away Darius Garland, so both sides are living with big holes in their rotations while trying to pretend things are normal. Harden's first game for his new team just happens to be against the very group that shipped him out, which adds a little extra spice, even if he is sitting there as a game-time decision and might not actually play. With both teams coming in on winning stretches, it sets up like a game that should stay tight for long stretches. The tricky part is that nobody really knows if Garland or Harden will be cleared and ready to go in time. Newly traded players often need that extra day or two just to get the physicals done, the paperwork finished, and a walkthrough under their belt. On paper that sounds boring, but it matters when you are trying to predict who is actually on the floor. Even so, there is a very human element here that you cannot ignore. It feels like Harden forced this move after not getting the contract he wanted, and that usually shows up as motivation when a player sees his former team on the schedule. Garland, on the other side of it, has every reason to feel disrespected being traded for somebody 10 years older than him. That kind of thing can light a fire, but his adjustment probably takes a bit longer, especially running a new offense. A backcourt built around Donovan Mitchell and Harden does not have to overthink the game much. They can just go full playground mode with the ball and let talent carry them for stretches, which can be terrifying for a defense that is still sorting out its own issues. You could argue that is risky, but it is also exactly the kind of setup that swings tight games. The Cavs are also playing their best basketball of the season right now, which makes it easier to trust that they can handle a small number and still come through. We are not talking about laying a huge margin, just a short bucket in a game where Cleveland's form and potential backcourt upside give them a slight edge. As our first pick for this matchup, the Cleveland Cavaliers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Cleveland Cavaliers are averaging 119.2 points on 47% shooting and allowing 116.9 points on 46.4% shooting. They are knocking down 35.5% of their threes and 78.2% of their free throws. They are allowing opponents to shoot 37.8% from deep, and they are grabbing 44.8 rebounds per game. The Los Angeles Clippers are averaging 112.7 points on 47.8% shooting and giving up 112.6 points on 46.5% shooting. They are hitting 36.6% from beyond the arc and an impressive 83.8% from the free throw line. They are allowing 36.6% shooting from deep, and they are collecting 41 rebounds per contest. Those numbers show two offenses that are comfortable scoring efficiently, with both teams shooting well from the field and from three. Cleveland gives up almost as many points as it scores, and the Clippers allow more than 112 per night while still hitting a high percentage themselves. That kind of trade-off usually leads to games where neither defense fully clamps down for 4 quarters. The three-point percentages and free throw numbers are especially important here. When both sides can stretch the floor and also cash in at the line, you create a path to big totals even if the pace is only moderate. Trips that might be empty for weaker teams turn into points more often, and a couple of hot stretches from outside can change the whole shape of the box score. Rebounding fits the story too, with the Cavs holding a noticeable edge on the glass. Extra possessions, whether through offensive boards or clean one-and-done stops that lead to quick push opportunities, help keep the scoreboard ticking along. Even if the Clippers do not dominate the boards, their efficiency can compensate by making more of the chances they do get. So while both teams have enough talent to get a few key stops, the combination of strong shooting, softish defense, and the emotional charge that can push stars into aggressive scoring modes tilts this toward a higher scoring game. It makes more sense to expect the total to rise above the number than to count on both defenses suddenly turning this into a grind. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.